I wanted to believe, but the tools have been taken away. The X-Files have been shut down. They closed our eyes. Our voices have been silenced. Our ears now deaf to the realms of extreme possibilities.
Reinstatement of the X-Files must be undeniable.
Welcome, everyone, to the Dark Talk Files. I am your host, Paul, and I'm joined by my hetero life partner, Dan. Dan, how are you?
I'm okay, Paul, thank you. Thanks for that introduction.
Did you like my little impression of you?
Was that impression of me, was it?
Well, the last bit was when it's like, Dan, how are you? I've studied you.
Studied my radio talent. Here we are. Episode, God, what episode is this?
7 of season 2.
Episode 31 for us, though.
Episode 7, 3.
3. Oh, yeah. And it's also the 20th of April, so happy 420, everybody, while we're on numbers.
Oh, yeah. Nice. Nice. I was looking at the actual date then, and I was like, wow.
Yeah. Yeah, here we are, 3. Do you remember this one?
I kind of do, yeah. I remember there being a much more insane vampire episode later on in the series, but as it was happening, I remembered it, yeah. I'd probably only seen it like once before.
Yeah. Because it's not very good.
Oh, do you know what? Spoilers. I really liked it.
Did you really?
Yeah.
I wasn't a fan.
I mean, it's nothing compared to like the last couple of episodes or the next one, but it was all right. It was all right. Like, I like vampires, so, you know, I used to be one.
One of those vampire kids from South Park.
Well, me and you were in Affleck's palace, weren't we? And I bought that vampire shirt because I wanted to dress like Gangrel.
Like this black leather vampire shirt with oh god.
Yeah. It was black one, but I bought it for some reason. I bought it like 4XL or something like that, and it was fucking massive on me. Like, I'm like a size large, extra large, depending on like what time of year it is, what I'm eating and whatever. But this was fucking huge. It could have fit 3 people inside of it, and I never wore it once. Obviously, I was going
to say, did you ever wear it out the house? Because can you imagine being seen in that thing?
I didn't wear it in the house on my own. It was that embarrassing.
Fucking bet you did. As soon as the house is empty, I bet you strip down to your underpants and put that on.
Do you know what, though? I did think... Do you remember the Spider-Man 90s animated cartoon?
Yes.
Do you remember the vampire episodes in that?
With Morbius and Blade.
Yeah, I think I wore it while I was watching them at one point.
Oh, those episodes are still better than that Morbius film that came out that nobody saw.
That they released twice because of the memes. They thought it was good. They thought everyone wanted to see it, so they're like, fuck, it's getting some attention. Put that shit back out there. And everyone's like, no, you still don't want to see it.
God, I just got to wonder, how does Jared Leto keep getting work? Like, how do people keep putting him in films?
He is a literal... Like,
allegedly,
literally, allegedly, he's a fucking gobshite.
Gobshite, yeah. He's also playing Skeletor in the new Masters of the Universe as well.
A film that I would have dreamt about seeing all my life, you know, apart from the original 80s one with Dolph Lundgren. I would love to see it, but did you watch the trailer I sent you?
Yeah, I did, yeah.
It looks fucking wank, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Like,
it does not look good.
Like, really bad. But I would still watch it, but now, like, I know Jared Leto's in it, I'll just give it a swerve, like, you know.
Yeah, and you just know it's just going to be like, just shite. It's just going to be like a Marvel film of just nothing, you know, like a complete nothing.
Yeah, zero substance. Just
welcome to Dark Talk, where we complain about films we haven't seen.
Films that haven't been released.
But let's talk about some quality television program. Oh god, I can't, because this episode's not even that great either.
Hey, it's better than any future He-Man film, like undoubtedly.
Yeah, I'll take the X-Files over. I'll take a bad episode of the X-Files over a 2-hour He-Man film that's coming out. So Scully's gone. Mulder is on his own. Cold open this episode. We are in Los Angeles and we meet some rich old guy whose name is Garrett Law, and he is enjoying his wine and watching a canyon fire in the distance. Now, as much as I don't like this episode, I really enjoyed the way that it takes place while there's an out-of-control bushfire raging in California in the background. I thought it was so cool. Like, you just keep seeing like little snippets of it or like news reports on it. I thought this was really great.
Yeah. I haven't like looked it up, but I'm sure that's real footage as well. It's gotta be, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, why would they even do it if it wasn't?
Yeah. Nice. I just thought it was a nice little touch to incorporate in the episode. Really atmospheric.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Adds atmosphere. Adds a bit of a bit of atmosphere. Yeah.
Doesn't have any effect on the plot or the story, but it just happens to be like a stylistic choice I really like.
No, it does. It comes in later.
Oh, does it? Well, we'll talk about it then. I must have completely blanked on that.
We'll talk about it later.
So Garrett is having a romantic night in with a mysterious and gorgeous woman, and it is implied that she is a sex worker, or at least someone that he's having an affair with, because the dialogue here is so stilted. He explains how he exposition dumps how they met at a corporate party, and he's not usually the type of guy to send his family away just so he can have a bang, which is bullshit, I reckon. I bet he does this all the time.
Oh yeah, this guy does this shit all the time. You know it. Like, why has he even got this place? Is it his house? Like,
I think so.
If it is, then it's his bang pad. You know, he does it all the fucking time.
His shag palace. So the two make love in a hot tub, and as she's kissing him all over, she starts biting that mofo, and out of nowhere, these two other dudes just jump in the pond into the pond. These two other dudes just jump into the pool with her. They just start feeding on this dude. So we've met our monster of the week, and it is the trio of vampires who will become known as the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. What are your thoughts on vampires in general, and what do you think of these three?
Well, my first thought was I could really sink my teeth into this. I think this is going to be quite an exciting episode about vampires. I'm a big fan of vampires. I thought it was totally batty the way it started. I just thought these bad guys in this episode are going to be a total pain in the neck for Mulder. Gotta be honest.
He's here all night, folks.
Just to let you know,
all night.
Just to let you know, I was gonna add these in every now and then, but I'm gonna come out and say I have a page opened with 75 of the best vampire puns available, and
see if you can spot them during the episode, listeners. If you get all of them, you win a prize.
Oh, God, Dan, you make my blood boil. That was one that was just on there then. That's shit. That's nothing to do with vampires. God.
Yes, so we have the credits and we open the episode proper, and at FBI HQ, Mulder is now, every episode I keep saying Mulder is now more lost than he's ever been before. Like, I think for about 3 or 4 episodes on the trot, Mulder's just been at the bottom of a barrel. This is like as low as it gets for him. Like, without Scully, he's having a rough old time.
He is. He's lost without his soul twin, you know? I know that's like psycho, pseudoscience shit, but do you know what though, after when their credits were playing, do you know what it should have said? The tooth is out there.
Oh, God. Let's get through this. But there is one positive for Mulder. The X-Files are now back open. So Mulder gets assigned these cases again. Instead of having to jump on them wherever he can, he's like, oh, quick, an X-File.
I was very happy to see this, because everything was all under like plastic tarps and that, wasn't it? Which I don't know why it would have to be, because how dusty is that place? And then he walks up to his calendar, which is a calendar of a hot chick, and he like flips through to get to the right date, showing us how much time has passed. But as he's flipping through, he's checking out each one, like, you know, because he's missed out on these calendars, isn't he?
His calendar girls.
Yeah, it also made me think, like, I've never been into calendars or posters and stuff, and I remember having like 1 or 2 when I was a teenager, but I remember looking and thinking, why have I even got this on my wall? I'm just not into stuff like that. And like, I've never even been to a strip club, you know, because I would feel so fucking awkward. I'd be like, am I doing okay? Like, you know, is this all right for you? Sorry, went off on a bit of a tangent there. Yeah. But yeah, it just made me think about, like, what grown man has a calendar of, like, is that like a real thing that people do?
Oh, I don't know what kind of weirdo would have a pornographic calendar up in his room. Why are you looking at me?
Oh, it must just be me then. I'm the
Listen, if it was a Gillian Anderson calendar, then that shit shit would be straight up every year. Get the new edition every year.
Yeah. But like, she wouldn't just have to be in a bikini or anything. She could just be in a suit with a gun and, you know, tied up in a boot.
Fucking hell, we're so weird.
No, I was referring to that famous picture of her from the last episode where she's tied up in the boot.
Whatever.
Christ, don't drag me down with you, like, Christ.
So Mulder arrives at Law's house and he investigates the murder scene, and we have returned to the status quo because there are some obstructive local cops and a weird-ass crime scene, and Mulder is explaining his mad theories, which inevitably turn out to be true. Apparently Mulder's been tracking this trio of serial killers, and he believes that they are vampires. So I guess this isn't actually an X-File yet, per se. It's just a simple run-of-the-mill serial killer, which is also Mulder's expertise. So this isn't quite an X-File yet.
Yeah, no, probably not, because no one's linked the vampire thing apart from him, so it wouldn't be.
And even Mulder thinks they're just killers who believe they're vampires. He doesn't think they're actually vampires.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Sure. He's proven wrong about later on.
quite quickly as well. When one of them bursts into flame.
I'm quite surprised it took this long to get a vampire episode.
Really?
Well, yeah, I would have imagined, like, with the amount of like ghosts and like the ghost episodes we had from the first season, you would have thought surely they would have written a vampire episode in there somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, we've had werewolves as well at this point, haven't we?
Yeah.
And
we just need a Frankenstein and a mummy, and we've got all four.
Yeah.
So is there a Frankenstein episode of the X-Files? There's got to be something. There's got to be some sort of parody or joke episode, or
later on, you know, when the more comedic stuff comes out. Yeah. But I can't remember. I don't know. Sorry. But how do you feel? I know you've asked me earlier on, and I made a joke. But how do you feel about actual vampires being in the X-Files, in the universe of the X-Files? Vampires existing.
I mean, that fucking space ghost exists, so like vampires are fine. It's fine.
Yeah, but the space ghost is more sci-fi. That's what we call it, but it could just be an alien that is in that form. But these are literal vampires, you know.
Yeah, the X-Files, you can have anything. You can have whatever you want. There's ghosts, space ghosts, aliens, werewolves, like killer robot buildings. You know, what else have we had? Tombs, the genetic mutant, the guy that can control fire. I think vampires are fine. I love vampires.
Yeah. Do you know what? You've convinced me, and now I feel silly.
Good, you should.
I do.
So Mulder has profiled these so-called vampire killers, and, well, actually, no, they're not vampire killers. They are vampire killers. Killers who are vampires, not people who kill vampires. They're not Blade.
Anybody who was listening to that sentence would have known what you meant, Dan. I've got to be honest.
I think they would have done, yeah. So Mulder has figured out that they believe they're a holy trinity from the Bible, and again, as soon as this biblical talk started, I just zoned out. I was just like, oh, God. The holy trinity, they also take blood from their victims and they store it for later. So Mulder calls around some blood banks, pretending to be from Human Resources, asking about any new employees. He's like, hey, I just want to get a social security number for this dude. And they're like, oh yeah, that dude that's just started, yeah. So he's figured out that that's what these guys are doing, go into blood banks.
Good idea, really, isn't it?
Yeah. So. Mulder's always thinking outside the box, isn't he? So he gets a lead when he figures out that a guy named Frank is the newly employed night watchman of this blood bank, and he would have free access to the blood bank at night. So Mulder visits the blood bank, and why does this building look like a Resident Evil lab? It's just so like dank and dark.
It's because he's like smashed all the light bulbs in it, so it's.
But it just looks gross as shit. So like I would not be going to get my blood taken at that fucking place. They're all storing it there. Like, have you ever given blood?
Yeah.
Did it look anything like this building?
No, it didn't.
Would you be happy giving blood in this rusty shithole? Get tetanus.
Do you know what? I'd prefer to. Because it'd give you the whole spooky vibes, you know? You'd be like, oh, yeah, this is creepy. I'm glad I'm here. You know? So
Mulder has a look around and he captures this dude who is absolutely chugging blood like he's drinking a beer at a fucking metal concert. He's just like fucking nailing it as fast as he can. But does he meet the security guard? Have I got that right? Does he actually meet Frank, the security guard?
He meets the guy before him who's Mulder pulls a gun on. He's like, whoa. Yeah. I didn't see it down here. I can't see it because the new blood guy keeps smashing all the light bulbs and shit.
Fucking security guard. Listen, mate, stop doing that, yeah?
Yeah. Can you fucking not? Like, coming out your wages, pal.
Yeah. So this is the member of the Holy Trinity that we will come to know as the Son. So Mulder arrests him and takes him into custody, and the Son is in a lot of pain because the halogen lights are too much for him. And same for me. Like, that shit's bad for your eyes. Like, fucking awful.
Yeah. Have you ever got your phone out and go in like your slow-mo camera and filmed one of those types of lights?
No.
And you can just see, I don't don't know if it's the exact same kind of light that I'm thinking of, but those lights aren't just like a permanent one light that's on. They're like a flicking light, and they flick too fast for us to see, faster than our eyes can perceive. But if you get a slow-mo camera on it, God, you look bored right now, Dan. He's looking out the window. He's anyway.
No, I was just I was just comparing my light bulb and natural light as you were talking.
Thanks for doing that. If you film with a slow-mo cam, one of those lights, you can see them flickering and how fucking horrible they are for your eyes and like your brain and that. So yeah, I get it. Yeah.
So the sun doesn't like this. He doesn't like the halogen lights. So Mulder comes in with this nice, soft, romantic red lamp, like dims the lights, and the room looks like really nice now. It looked like One-Eyed Jack. Looked like a room at One-Eyed Jack's from Twin Peaks.
Oh yeah, it did. Yeah, it looked like Kane was about to enter the room.
So the vampire dude is kind of grateful. He says he will speak, but he will only speak to Agent Mulder, and this fucker sings like a canary. He tells Mulder everything instantly. He is 100% convinced that he is an immortal vampire who will never die. He's just like, yep, that's just how it is, Agent Mulder. But Mulder still doesn't believe that he's a vampire at this point, does he?
No, he thinks he's delusional and he's a psychopath, and
he gives him a clever trick, like as a way out, because he thinks he won't ever confess, but he needs like an excuse to confess. So what they plan to do?
So Mulder puts him in a room with bars on the windows that has natural light coming through, and Mulder says in about 20 minutes the sun's going to come up properly and that light's going to come through and you're going to burn if you're a vampire, or something like that. I'm paraphrasing. So Mulder says to the other cop, he's like, keep him in here. If he calls for me, block the light and come and get me. And the guy, I've got it written down here because as I am famously known for misquoting everything I have tried to quote, I wrote it down because it was an excellent line. And the guy says to him, what if he turns into a bat and flies out through the bars?
I've got that written down as well. Now I remember this scene. I don't really remember this episode from when I was a kid, but I remember this scene specifically because it's probably the best scene of the episode, actually. So as the sunlight creeps through into the cell, the sun, as in the S-O-N, the sun, the vampire, he gets incinerated by the light from the sun, the S-U-N, the star from our solar system. He just melts to death and dies. And they're like, when they're checking his body, they're like, yeah, this dude's got 4th degree burns, which is like, haven't we spoke about this on the podcast before? The different degrees of burns, like 3rd degrees, like the worst.
We have, yeah. Yeah, it was when the spaceship burnt the grass or the land below it or whatever, and it crystallized the sand or something like that. Am I right?
Oh yeah, could have. Yeah, I thought it was the fire.
That was what we were talking about. Oh, maybe.
I don't know. It could have been either.
Who knows?
But yeah, so they are always fatal, and even Mulder is surprised that this dude was actually a vampire. He's like, fuck, I didn't think he was actually a vampire. He was gonna melt.
So, can I just say, I've written down another line which I found fucking hilarious as well. I was like giggling to myself with this one. So he's speaking to the doctor who's just been checking him over, and he explains, he's like, this has happened to him from 15 seconds of exposure to the sun. Mulder goes into him being a vampire, and the doctor says, you are really upsetting me on several levels. His delivery is so fucking good. It's like, it is so funny for me. I had to rewind it a couple of times. I was like, oh, that was perfect.
So Mulder notices that there is an ink stamp from a nightclub on the son's hand, and it's burned right into the skin, which I call bullshit on, because those things do not stay on. Like, when you go out for a cigarette and you try and get back in it, it's gone. It's like, fuck's sake.
Oh, I don't know. I've had those stamps on for days afterwards. Can't wash them off.
It is now like seared into his flesh forever. So this nightclub is called Club Tepes, which is a 90s gothic vampire club named after Vlad the Impaler. And this club just reminded me, do you remember the old website, vampirefreaks.com, where I had a profile when I was a cyber goth? That's the kind of aesthetic that we were going for.
I also had a profile on there. I never used it though, but I did.
I used it all the time.
I bet you fucking did.
Taking like low-lit pictures of myself with my long hair.
Is that website still going? I really need to have a look on it and see if I can find you.
No, but you can. I have been on it using the Wayback Machine from the Internet Archive a couple of times, but most of the pictures are gone. But if I could find I remember my profile name.
Was it?
No.
It was.
I will be bleeping that.
Do you want to know what? I can remember my picture that I used because I remember making the profile but just never using it. But I used this picture of myself. It's a black and white picture. At this point, I had long black hair down to like my ribs, and I had my septum piercing in, and I had like an Edge and Christian style chin goatee. And and I was just like, I think I was doing the Undertaker eye roll in it, and I was just like, and I put like a dark shade around it, and Christ.
The days before Facebook, eh? So Mulder visits this nightclub, and he looks extremely out of place with all this lace and leather because he just goes there wearing his suit. He just looks like a fish out of water.
Do you know what though? Not a single person in there judges him. Like, how often do you get like TV shows and films where people go to like a metal bar or a goth bar or a punk place and they're all dead judgy of people who are like posers. Like even Severance. Have you seen Severance? There's a bit where they go and watch this like punk band play in an alleyway on a street.
Yeah,
I think it is, if I remember correctly. And like the people attending start calling the main guy a poser because he's not dressed like them, and like it's just like,
that's not a punk attitude.
No, it's the opposite. But like in this, like nobody even bats an eyelid. Like I think if you're in a place like that and a guy walks in a suit and tie and that, I'd be more wary of this dude. Like definitely.
Yeah.
What's he doing here? What's his business?
So Mulder gets pulled by this gorgeous woman who, are we supposed to believe she's the hot vampire from the start? Because it turns out it's not her, isn't it?
Well, Dan, I've got a confession to make. By like the end of this episode, I had no clue what was happening. Because
Same.
I thought she was, all the way through the first, I thought she was the Holy Spirit.
Yeah.
Is that the name? Because I was looking at her and I was like, Jesus. And I was like, what have I seen her in? And I looked at her IMDb page, but she was called Kristen, I think it was in this.
Kristen.
And there was another actress as the Holy Spirit. And I was like, wait, she's not the same one, and she's not a vampire. So I was fucking dead confused.
Yeah, so was I. But I think we're meant to believe that she is the Holy Spirit, but it's revealed at the end that she isn't. But she is in with those vampire dudes. She is like, which we'll get into now. So this is Kristen, and she pretty much says outright, I am a vampire. I drink the lifeblood of people. And she tries to feed Mulder her blood. But he's like, whoa, what about AIDS? This actress is Perry Reeves, and she was in a relationship with David Duchovny at the time.
Wow, okay. No wonder there's so much goddamn chemistry between these two.
I know, yeah. I was rock hard through their scenes. I was rock hard the entire episode, to be honest.
I don't know if this was a porno or not, but I was rock hard the entire episode. They have got a pretty good chemistry going on here. So, because Mulder doesn't want to drink her blood, Kristen goes off and finds a new victim. So she goes off to this empty supermarket and she has sex with this dude that she picked up in the club. And Mulder follows her, and he's like peeping through the window like a peeping Tom. He's just like, you just see his eyes sticking through. He's like, oh. And then they both get alerted by a car light driving past, which illuminates Mulder's fucking big fluffy hair. And then she's looking, he's just like this big derpy head just staring through.
You can see the shadow of it on the wall. They're like, wait a minute, there's someone watching us. This dude, he kicks Mulder's ass. He goes out there and beats the shit out of him.
He does. He whops his ass.
Yeah. And so the dude goes back into the building to finish the job on Kristen, but he gets jumped by the gang of vampires and is killed. So yeah, they're still trying to lead us to believe that Kristen is the female vampire, but spoilers, she is not.
Yes.
So the examiner at the scene tells Mulder that the bites are human and done by 3 different people. Now I've got to wonder how Mulder explained himself when he called this one in. Was he like, I was watching these two have sex, and before the guy could come, he was set upon by a pack of Nosferatu. It's like,
yeah, the paperwork that you'd have to do for this, like. He would have to lie so much.
The thing is, though, he's all about the truth. So he's going to say, like, oh, yes, I went to the vampire club and I met this woman, but she wanted me to drink her blood, but I didn't want to because she had AIDS. But then I followed her when she was having sex with this other dude. The dude then kicked my ass. And then when I woke up, he was dead. Fucking hell. No wonder Skinner hates him.
I know. Mulder, not this shit again.
Yeah, I know. So Mulder finds Kirsten's address, and he concludes that she is the unholy spirit of the vampire trio, as have we, the viewers. The cops search her house, which looks way too nice for a vampire to live in, and I think that this house is the same house from the episode Blood. Do you remember the woman that tried to stab Mulder to death after she read the message on the microwave?
Oh, yeah.
It looks the same. It's like, they're going to save money and use a place that they're familiar with, surely.
Yeah. Well, I was going to mention this, and I forgot. The opening scene is set in LA, yeah. It looks like LA, doesn't it? So I assumed that they probably did shoot that part there. Probably wouldn't have been too difficult, However, later on, a cop approaches Mulder and they chat, and he sounds like fucking Bret Hart. He has got like the most Canadian accent. It's quite clear that the rest of this has just been shot in Canada. They're still in Vancouver, as always. And yeah.
So Mulder opens the oven and he finds a loaf of bread full of blood. And what the fuck was this about? What was this about? This gross looking what? What did they do to like hollow out the bread and like put a syringe full of blood in it? And then like what is this thing?
They do explain later what it is. So later on, when Mulder's speaking to Kristen, if I keep getting her name wrong, then I'm sorry, but I'm going to go with Kristen. He says about having the bread with the blood in the oven, and that's to protect.
I don't know. I've lost the plot.
There was something there. It comes from like an old vampire tradition. There was a reason for it, because I was like laughing because there was a fucking loaf of sourdough covered in like mucus and blood and shit, and I thought it was funny. But then they explained it. I was like, right, so it was for a reason.
So so it is Kristen. I've got Kristen and Kirsten written down at several points in these notes. So yeah, it is Kristen. So Kristen arrives, and it turns out she's not one of the Holy Trinity killers. So she tells Mulder her backstory about she was in an abusive relationship with her ex-boyfriend who nearly beat her to death, and then she met the son, who she also got into an abusive relationship, but he's also not a real vampire until he met the Father and the Holy Spirit, who then turned him into a real vampire, and now the son wants to turn Kristen into a real vampire. Yeah, I was fucking very confused by this.
Yeah, I did switch off a little bit at this point. Yeah.
yeah, it's just boring, yeah. Mulder and Kirsten have a long, boring-ass conversation, and she even shaves him and tastes his blood. Fucking hell, this went on forever.
She shaves him, and she immediately shaves him against the grain, causing a cut, which she wants to drink. She wants to taste his blood, but he's like, no, baby, kiss me instead. And then they start kissing, and then I was rock hard.
Yeah, she bangs him then and there in the bathroom, while the son, who is now inexplicably alive, is like watching from behind a pillar. He's like fucking, he's being cuckolded.
Suckold. Because he's a vampire.
Oh, yeah, we got it. We got it, Paul. We got it.
That one wasn't on my list of 75, I'll have you know. I'll tell you what, I'm going to read a couple of these out to you. Is that all right?
Go on then.
On a coffin break. See you later, sucker. Bats all, folks. It's a game of high stakes. Official Fang Club. Been there, done bat. The bite stuff. The big Fang theory. Immortal Combat, with a K as well. And the Grateful Undead. And I am going to stop right there.
The Grateful
Sorry
Undead.
for wasting... sorry for wasting, 30 seconds of your time.
So the sunlight from earlier apparently didn't kill the sun, which is not how vampire law works, but whatever. The sun wants to kill Kristen. The sun wants Kristen to kill Mulder and drink his blood because he is a believer, and that will turn her into a real and an immortal vampire like he is, which looks... What the fuck is this? What's going on?
My favourite day of the week is Thursday.
Oh, God.
So yeah, right, let's look at some other vampire films and stuff. Like in most vampire lore, sunlight will immediately kill a vampire.
Yes.
But he wasn't in direct sunlight, right? So maybe it sort of just burned him to a point where it would kill a human, but he can regenerate because he's a vampire. Like we've seen it in some films and whatever, where vampires do get burnt, but they don't fully die because it's not like, like fucking Twilight films. They don't get burnt at all by sunlight. They just sparkle a little bit, which okay.
sparkle.
Yeah, the sparkly vampires from Twilight. And then some vampire lore, the mirror thing isn't real. Some vampires can go invisible, some don't get affected by silver, some really do, and all that shit. So it's just different in every lore, isn't it? You can create your own lore for your own vampire. What I found interesting was I used to be a big fan of True Blood when it came out, like 2008 or whatever it was. I was a fucking massive goth. And they introduced into that the lore of vampires can be seen in mirrors, but the reason why that is a myth about vampires is because vampires spread myths about themselves so that if someone accused someone of being a vampire, they could prove it with a fake myth. Therefore, Vampire Bill would be like, I am not a vampire, show me a mirror and I'll prove it. And that, I always thought that was pretty good, pretty intelligent.
That is pretty cool. What do you think about silver, vampires being allergic to silver?
I don't mind it. It's more of a werewolves are okay with silver, but it's a silver bullet with werewolves, isn't it?
Yes.
So, yeah, silver's fine. Garlic, I can give or take garlic. In True Blood, he's like, no, garlic doesn't kill us. We just don't like the taste, or something like that.
You can tell these are creatures of evil if they don't like the taste of garlic. Like, fuck that. I haven't got time for people that don't like garlic.
What's your favourite garlic product, Dan?
Maybe the garlic dip you get with Domino's Pizza.
Oh, yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah.
Onion and garlic dip, that's fucking nice as well.
Garlic tortillas from Chiquito.
Yeah. So what is your favourite vampire then? Like, so you say True Blood. Is that your favourite vampire?
There isn't a character called True Blood in that programme.
John Blade Runner.
True Man of Blood.
Yeah. So who is your favourite vampire in fiction?
I don't know. How about you?
Mine is Cheech Marin from Dusk Till Dawn.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty good.
Wesley Snipes' Blade. I know he's only half vampire, but he's pretty fucking cool as well.
Yeah, I like that. I like that alternative kind of idea for a vampire story. Is it Frost, his antagonist in that?
Yeah, Deacon Frost.
Yeah, I thought he was cool as fuck when I was a kid.
Stephen
like his hair and his yeah. He's a pretty good vampire. But I always loved Interview with the Vampire. I thought Brad Pitt and Tom Cruise were fucking excellent in that.
Queen of the Damned.
Can we please cover Queen of the Damned?
We're gonna have to.
As soon as possible. Shittest film ever. Best soundtrack ever.
When he wakes up from his 200-year slumber because he can hear metal music being played.
And then it cuts to the scene of the band just jamming out, playing an obvious Korn sounding song, and then they hear a voice. It's John Davis's voice, and he's like, "Ah!" And the camera pans to him, and he's lying on an amp, just like this, with his mouth open, and it's just clearly not his voice. It's so funny.
Oh, that film.
Do you know what? While we're on it, though, I've had this theory for years, right? So that film came out after Issues, right? The album Issues, and before Untouchables. Do you think Korn's fifth album would have sounded more like the soundtrack for this film, more vampire-y, more violins and stuff, and also John Davis's solo album?
It's only John Davis though, isn't it? It's not Korn themselves. It is just John Davis.
It's John Davis. Yeah. Some of the members of Korn play some instruments on it, if I remember correctly, and they made the secondary album, which is different vocalists doing the songs. So.
No, I'd say they were definitely given a mandate from the studio of what kind of thing they wanted, so they just sort of I'm sure they were given creative control where they could,
I just think the entire trajectory of Korn's albums would have been different if it wasn't for that film.
Yeah, just looking at it now, yeah. John Davis, Richard Gibbs. Although Davis's contractual commitments to Sony meant that his vocals could not appear on the soundtrack album.
Yeah, so they had Chester Bennington, David Draymond,
Wayne Static.
Jay from Orgy, Wayne Static, yeah.
Marilyn Manson as well, yeah.
It's a fucking good album, that. Those songs are so good.
I might give that a listen to later on.
We saw John Davis in 2008 at Download, and he did a lot of these songs.
Yeah, when he was sitting in that big... He was in that throne, wasn't he?
He was, yeah.
Right.
Wow.
Okay. Back to this episode, I suppose. So Kristen looks like she's going to kill Mulder while he sleeps, but instead she stabs the father, who is the head vampire, who was lurking in a closet. For the leader of a vampire cult, this dude was treated like an absolute jobber. We don't see him again. That's it. He's dead. See ya.
Do you know what it was? He was probably in that closet. And he was like, this is all right, isn't it? It's like a stand-up coffin. I can get comfortable in here. I can have a chill, maybe a little sleep. And then suddenly this knife just comes out of nowhere and takes him out. How do you feel about vampires sleeping? Because some vampires don't sleep and some vampires have to sleep.
I guess it makes
was
sense.
at first bite. Don't ever cross me. You're just my blood type. Caught in a bat romance. I've been dying to meet you.
He's going to get them all out, folks. He's going to get them all out.
Yep. I'm going to interrupt you at certain points and get some of these shitty puns out.
I think it works for like Dracula sleeping because you have the image of Dracula rising out of his coffin, which is cool. And he's like the most powerful vampire of all time, so he's got to sleep, you know? He's got to like rest because his power's like way more than any other vampire. But I like the idea of vampirism being a curse that affects humans. So the humans just basically live their lives as normal, but they just can't go out in the sun and they need to feed on blood. That kind of cool shit. So I like both.
How do you feel about vampire powers? Like some vampires can fly, some can go invisible, some can use mind control.
I think
what do you think?
Look at it like Highlander. So the more powerful a vampire and the older you are, the more you can do. So like Dracula's been around for hundreds of years, so he can like turn into a wolf and a bat and like mist and hypnotize people. But like a new vampire is like a baby vampire. You can't really do shit.
Jobber vampires.
Do
you remember the film Night Watch?
No, I don't think
it's a Russian film about. So the basic plot is that beyond the world, the human world, there is this other world that accompanies our world, but nobody can see it unless you have like the special ability to reach this other world.
The Roddy Piper
this
glasses.
Other world, exactly. Yeah. And the people who are brought into that world are aware of it, and you have all that types of different monsters and stuff. And the Night Watch are the people who protect the real human world from this world, and they have like contracts and governments and stuff to make it so that they can't just simply murder the humans, you know. But they do because there are vampires. So I think it's the second film or the first film, because there are three of them: Night Watch, Day Watch, and a Twilight Watch. I haven't seen the third one. Anyway, in one of them, maybe the second one, he fights a vampire, but the vampire's turning invisible as his power. But the only way you can see him is through a reflection. So they're fighting in this like dirty old rundown toilet, like public toilet, and the vampire smashes the mirror so that you can't see him. So he's fighting him off with like a knife and a piece of mirror, and he's like this, like looking around, trying to find where he is, because he keeps like sneaking behind him and stuff. Fucking good films, those. I like them. Sorry, I've had two massive black coffees, and I'm just like, my mind is racing, you know.
Yes. So Mulder is attacked by the rest of the vamps, and he is able to get the upper hand over the son and manages to cuff him. But when he gets to the garage, he gets his ass kicked by the Holy Spirit. She beats the shit out of him. She's jumping all over this car like she's Trinity in the Matrix. She's like fucking flying around the place.
She rips him out of the sunroof, doesn't she? She like. You just see his legs fly up and glass smash. And
when the unholy,
this is where I get confused, right? Because do you want to say it, and I'll tell you my confusion.
So Mulder gets dragged up by the unholy spirit, and she's about to move in for the kill, and Kristen arrives and runs the unholy spirit over in her car, and then speeds away. And Mulder, this is like a double bluff to get Mulder out of the house. So he chases after Kristen, runs out the house after her. She doubles back to the house where the vamps are all knocked out, and with a gas can she blows up her house with the vampires inside, because apparently the only thing that can kill a vampire is a true believer, which right, bear with me, which I guess Mulder wasn't a true believer when the son got incinerated by the sun, so that's how he survived. And like, I've just got written here, none of this is making any fucking sense to me. I don't know what's going on.
This is how I saw it, right? She drives off in the car. Mulder runs after the car on foot, and he runs quite far. You can see that the house is nowhere near him when he gets to it.
Yeah.
But the car's empty. This old, nice-looking BMW, and the car's empty. And I was just like, okay, so they've vanished. And then it cuts back to seeing Kristen in the house, and I was like, how the fuck? I got it. I got that she had gone back. She tricked him to get him away. Yeah. But I was like, how the fuck did she get back to that house as quickly as he got to the car? And without seeing him, it just felt a bit like...
Probably turned into a bat and flew then.
She's not a vampire, though. She's not a vampire.
I just don't know. I don't know. So I think the father is dead because Mulder stabbed him. Kristen stabbed him. Oh, fuck, I don't know.
Kristen stabbed the father.
And she's a true believer, so he's dead.
She's a true believer, so she blew the rest of them up.
Yeah.
Meaning
so,
dead.
Yeah. So the house blows up, the three vampires are dead, and Kristen is now dead as well. That's right, yeah?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
So the fireman at the end, he explains to Mulder that he found 4 bodies which are just ashes and bones now, so I guess they are actually dead, and that's it. So the episode ends with Mulder sitting on a hill clutching Scully's cross necklace while the wildfire rages on. Yeah, there you go. That's the vampire episode. This was not good.
The plot with the wildfire, by the way, was she says one change of wind and that wildfire is heading right towards us,
right,
implying to me that the wildfire would kill the vampires vampires as well.
Because, as we know, wildfires do believe in the supernatural. Famously well known.
But if she's there while it happens, maybe her true belief. I don't know.
Oh, this was dog shit. I am not impressed with this episode. It was just pretty bad. Yeah. Like I say, I enjoyed some of the atmosphere with the wildfires, like we've mentioned, and I enjoyed the scene where the son gets incinerated in his jail cell, but the rest of it was just fucking... Ugh.
I really liked it.
Did you really?
I don't know why. I didn't need to take it too seriously. I don't know. I think all the actors were good. I think the son actor, the vampire, he was great. Reminded me a lot of Bill Paxton in Near Dark, you know? And it wasn't as like charismatic, but he had that sort of similar energy. Maybe it's just his hair. I don't know. And I like Kristen. I thought she was nice. Come on, we've had some fucking bangers up until now. So I think that this is better. This is better than something like Jersey Devil, easily.
I'd watch Jersey Devil over this, I think.
I wouldn't.
Yeah. I'm going to go out on a limb and say it's the second worst episode of all series so far, because the worst is still Miracle Man, I think, is still the worst.
I can't remember what I put as last, but I think Space Ghost is the worst to me.
Yeah, wasn't a fan.
I didn't mind it at all.
Well, have you got any trivia for us about this episode? Not about vampires, and I don't want to hear any vampire jokes or any vampire puns or anything like that. I just want to know solid facts about the production of this episode.
Well, Dan, seeing as I'm your biggest fan and we will never love in vain, then all hands on neck for some trivia. Play the jingle. The original script for this episode was a lot kinkier and revealed a lot more about blood fetishism. These elements, however, fell foul of the broadcast standards, so they had to be toned down. Ooh, yeah. The opening passage of this episode reveals that the X-Files have been shut down for 6 months. Yeah, we got that. Gillian Anderson has the record of appearing in the most episodes of the series, missing only the following 5. This one, another one, another one, another one, and another one. I'm not reading all that shit out. We don't care. Sorry if you do, Dan, but do you really need to hear me list out a bunch of episode names?
No, I'm good.
Club Tepes, is it Tepes? TPs? Tepes? Is named for Prince Vlad Tepes, the Impaler, the inspiration for Dracula. David Duchovny was dating Perry Reeves when she guest starred. The film playing in the background during Club Tepes is Fritz Lang's M from 1931. I love a good film playing in the background of a club. I love it. The location of Kristen's house was hockey player Pavel Burr's mansion, then the leading name of the Vancouver Canucks. The producers had an agreement for the late filming from all of one but Burr's neighbours, who was absent during the petitioning. Said neighbour later tried to sue Fox, only agreeing to let production continue after receiving an indemnization. Indemnization.
Does that mean just paying him money?
I think so, yeah. I think so. What a twat. This episode has the shortest title in the series. Great. Excellent. 23 people downvoted that. And I have 2 more for you. Let's get this shit done. This episode was met with dismay by many online fans, and especially shippers, but it shows Mulder having sex with another woman. However, Chris Carter was quite keen to reveal that Mulder was not a monk, and with Scully out of the frame for a while, it seemed like the perfect opportunity to prove that. See, I fully believe that he only banged her because he's grieving over Scully. I think if Scully was sound, he wouldn't have been doing that. A small nod to the premise of 3 can be seen in the very last shot. While Mulder examines the cross hanging around his neck, the smoke cloud behind him forms the sultry figure of a woman, presumably the spirit of the female who died in the flames, who is living forever. I think that's bollocks.
I did not notice that.
I don't think that's real, personally. I think it's bollocks. And that is your trivia of the week.
Thank you for that trivia, Paul. Do you have a spooky... Is it a vampire story you've got for us this week?
No, it's a werewolf story.
Oh.
I am lying. It's a vampire story. Of course it is.
I know.
So I was going to talk about where the myths of vampires come from. So this is probably more interesting than what we've been talking about the whole episode, I think. So the vampire myth stems from ancient beliefs in blood-drinking spirits, Mesopotamia and Greece, and evolved in Eastern Europe, Slavic folklore, where tales of undead corpses spreading disease like epea, don't know if I'm saying that right, became common, blending with medical conditions, porphyria and rabies, and historical figures, Elizabeth Bathory, to form the modern vampire legend, solidified by 18th century investigations and 19th century literature. I find it quite fascinating, to be honest. I could probably spend the day reading about this kind of stuff, but I'm not. I'm going to play Resident Evil 2, the remake. Okay, so from there, I have a little old bit of story about Elizabeth Bathory. Elizabeth Bathory is a real Hungarian noblewoman and accused serial killer from the 16th/17th century, infamous for torturing and killing hundreds of young women, with rumours claiming she bathed in their blood to stay young, which later fueled her connection to vampire mythology, though this link wasn't solidified until much later in popular culture influencing modern vampire tales. Have you ever heard of her?
Yeah. It's what the black metal band Bathory are named after.
There you go. I won't tell you anymore then. Fuck you. Fuck you. Right, and this is probably fucking dead boring, so I'm going to skip to a Reddit story about people who have had vampire encounters.
Sorry, Bathory are Swedish extreme metal, not black metal, just before a bunch of fucking black metal fans turn up at my house and burn it down. I apologise for getting that one wrong.
Well, there is a church quite close to your house, so beware. What would you call Cradle of Filth?
Poser metal.
Poser metal? Fuck off, Cradle of Filth, great.
I'm joking, I love them. Oh, actually, Bathory are considered a pioneer of black metal alongside Venom, Hellhammer and Merciful Fate, as well as Viking metal, so I was right in the first place.
Right, well, maybe the Swedish extreme metal elitists will come and burn your house down instead, maybe.
Fucking hell, what have I got myself in the middle of?
Good job it's not 1988.
It's a good job that no one listens to this podcast.
Yeah. Imagine if there was a small community in Norway that just loved us.
Yeah, fucking Varg from what was it? Berserk. Those fucking Nazi fucks.
Yeah.
Anyway,
right, I'm going to read this, but I'm going to be quick about it because, I don't want to bore you too much. My grandfather on my father's side served as a lieutenant commander aboard a British S-class submarine during World War II, and he swore the captain was a vampire. It was something my parents joked about behind his back. I never spoke to my grandfather about it. He passed away before I was old enough or emboldened enough to ask, and he never raised the subject in my presence, but my dad knows all the stories. The captain never boarded or disembarked the sub during daylight hours. His skin was pale as a candle. He occasionally displayed supernatural strength and reflexes. He seemed to be able to read minds. No one ever saw him eat or drink anything, etc., etc., etc. All the corny classic vampire indicators. Apparently, my grandpa and his fellow seamen were even able to link the captain to various naval-based disappearances too. But my dad doesn't remember the details of those stories. Anyway, no one took my grandfather seriously. But then after he passed in 1993, we were sifting through his belongings and we came across a black and white photograph of him and what appears to be the mess aboard the sub. He is standing in a long and cramped room with some other men, and they are all smiling for the photo. One of the men, however, is not smiling. I wonder who that is. He is very tall, very gaunt, and appears to be annoyed. When we found the photo, my dad said, and here's Captain Dracula. And we all laughed. And resumed going through Grandpa's things. The next day, my dad walked into the kitchen looking as pale as a ghost. He'd been inspecting the old photos with a magnifying glass when he noticed that the captain was not appearing in a small mirror at the back of the mess. You can see the reflection of all the other men in the photo, but not the captain. He just isn't there. The first reply is in full capitals saying, "Post the photo, come on!" Where is the photo? Truly intriguing. You mentioned the black and white photo. I was wondering if you could share it with us. Anyway, can you corroborate the story? Anyway, you can corroborate the story. And you post the photo. Come on, man, post the photo. And there is no such photo to be posted.
Pretty cool story, though. Pretty cool story.
It's quite a fun story, isn't it? Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, I like that one. We've mentioned before, though, like, I love when you look at a photo in a film and then there's something that the character notices, a spooky change that changes the whole concept of the plot.
Yeah. Shameless plug here, but in my graphic novel, something happens like that when he looks at a photo of his dad from when he was a kid. No spoilers. My graphic novel will be on sale soon. That's just for me telling you to buy it, Dan, because there are, as we said before, we've got no listeners. But yeah, like one that always got me was The Witches. I think we've spoken about it before with the little girl in the painting that just appears when she goes missing. Yeah. Oh, I love that shit. It's great.
So I don't believe that story, but yeah, I thought it was fun. What about you?
Oh, I thought you were going to say The Line then.
No, it's
so
your
I don't
line.
believe that story. I don't know. I don't think the person. I don't think the person was lying because
on the internet.
Like it was. I don't know. I don't know what you'd gain from it. Like I don't know what you'd gain from making up a shitty
Reddit
fake
points.
story. Reddit points. They've only got 11 upvotes, so I don't know. Like, can you spend Reddit points in the shop?
No, sure. But that stuff is important to some people out there. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't know. I think that it's a true story from this person's perspective, but I don't think it was real at all. I think that his family are just taking the piss, or it's misremembered, or it's just like a little folk family's tale, you know, where they're like, "Oh, do you remember that vampire?" And they just sort of gone with it, and it's just like a fun thing for the family. So
I do like the idea of Captain Dracula, submarine captain, as a film. Piloted a nuclear submarine.
Cheech and Chong meet Captain Submarine Dracula, Lieutenant Dracula.
Well, thank you everybody for listening to this episode. We will be back in 10 days' time for a Myth Arc episode, One Breath, which features the return of Dana Scully.
And the return of Don S. Davids.
Thank you everybody for listening. We'll see you next time. Goodbye and good night.
Goodbye.